format for them at least, so that you don't have to worry about that. Today, we're just going to get used to putting them in our calculator and seeing what happens to this. Now, if you hit a window, just hit your window button for a second, you notice you have time, Tmax, Tmin, a Tmax, a T-step. You have your X-min, you have your Y-min, that's the same, but you got this extra piece of T up here. This is your time part, because you have 3 parameters now. So you're going to have to set how long is this taking, from 0 to 6 minutes, from 0 to 10 minutes. The T-step is the one we have to play with a little bit. The T-step makes that curve either too sharp or too wide. You have to play with your T-step a little bit. You'll get the feel for this as we go. But the X-mins, the Y-mins, those are the same as you go down here. Because we have a third parameter, you have to set that as well. That's your T-step. So that's not too bad. So you're going to be seeing things like this. Now, by tomorrow, we're going to be taking these parametrics, and you're going to see some of your ellipses come out of this, some of your hyperbolas come out of this. We convert them to 2x2s, like an XY, a rectangular form we call it. But today, we're just going to kind of play with your calculator a little bit. So right down here, come to the one that says number 1. Don't do the example. Come to the number 1 and put this in your calculator. When you hit the X, when you usually look for X, you will now get a T. So just do it the same exact way. T squared. It's that little X button that you hit for X. When you hit that, you get a T. See, it says XT, then has an angle. That button is multifunctional. So if you're in parametric mode, when you hit the X, you'll get a T. Did you put your mode in parametrics, Lily? What? Parametric, under function. Okay. Gotta put your mode in parametrics. So put this guy in. And then put your Y. Everybody has a pair. They have pairs. Now, we're going to take your table, and T is going to go from -3. So go to your window. T is going to go from -2 to +3. And leave your T-step there right now. Leave your X and your Y, -10, +10. And just hit graph. See it go? Yeah. We could slow up your T, your step, like how long it takes to get there. You can increase it a little bit. Change your T-step. Just play with this a little bit. Change your T-step. Put 0.5. And hit graph. It graphs very, very quick. Change your T-step again and put 1. This one's kind of hasn't made much difference, but sometimes you'll see a big difference. Change your T-step and put 0.01. Now watch this one. See it? It's just saying go by 0.01 increments, so it goes a lot slower. The higher you go, the faster it's going to go. But it doesn't always mean it's better, because sometimes the sharpness, and this one doesn't show exactly, but we'll hit another one that does. Sometimes the sharpness, you have to adjust your T-step. So depending on where you go, notice it has a starting point. It has a starting point here, right here. Notice it has a direction. So it started here and it went this way. This way. This is called orientation. And the one thing you're going to have to do is just those little arrows. It's just not coming out of my... The one thing you're going to have to do is put little arrows to where your orientation goes. And that's going to be important to us pretty soon. So orientation says just keep an eye where it starts. If you can't see where it starts, set your T-step smaller. Then it'll go slower. And then you'll be able to see it. As you increase your T-step, it goes a little bit faster. So if I increase my step, and sometimes if I increase it too much, it's not going to make myself a graph. I didn't get all the way around there. If you went too fast, you didn't get a chance to finish this. So you're going to have to decrease your T-step a little bit. Make it go slower. So this is the part, there's no set way for this T-step. I generally start at 0.5. I usually start at 0.5 and see what my graph looks like. Now, all I want you to do is sketch and describe this. Right now, I do want you to make a table because you're going to see that this is your third parameter. This one doesn't appear on your graph. This does. This is your XY axis right here. These are your points that you plot. Your time is your third one. It's kind of like you don't really see that. So if you just go from -2 to +3, just do this. Time, X, Y. And then the 3. Just plot me these. Just write these down, the X, Y's. These are the coordinates that you plot. These are the ones that you plot on your, because you're still working on an XY graph. Time is not really plottable. It's just a third parameter. How do you call that in physics? Do you call it like a time parameter, your third parameter? You didn't really get this far? You do it a little differently in physics, but it has the same concept. My kids will always say, oh yeah, I know what that is. Okay, so just kind of get used to looking at this. This is your XY table. No matter how you change your time step, this is your XY table. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to sketch. You're going to sketch this for me. You're going to show me where it starts, where it comes across, and you're just going to put little arrows. Well, you're just going to put little arrows in. Alright, so maybe I'm not going to. I'm going to put little arrows in here. My board is one. Okay, so let's try another one.
Wait, so what arrows?
Like orientation. So show me, let's see if it'll start. Show me where does it start. It starts here. I can't do this for some odd reason. What am I doing now? It's my green marker that's the light's not coming on. So it starts here and it goes like this. So all I want you to do is show me this orientation. Show me orientation on your graph. It's a little sharper, but if I go sharper, it's being weird. So it's a little bit sharper. When we get to do these tomorrow, you're going to see your ellipse come out. You're going to see your hyperbolas come out. We do circles. You'll see a circle come out. And you have never been able to graph anything like this, have you? You can never graph anything that has 2 y values because it's not a function. Your calculator doesn't graph that. That's when you were under function. So we moved off a function into parametrics, and now we can graph these. So it's kind of a cool thing. All right, so let's try another one. So try this. Put this in your calculator. The green is okay. Put this in your calc. Just so that you get used to doing this, you'll see that, again, they come in pairs. I'll tell you where you need to go, -4 to +4. You always have to have the pairs. So, you know, like in your y equal, if you didn't start at y1, it was no big deal. Just be careful. You always have to have a y1, an x1, a y1. You have an x2, a y2. You have to have pairs. So you're going to graph this. Now, this you'll see a difference with your t-step, right? So now take your t-step 1. Just play with this. It looks a little bit different each time. So take your t-step, and sometimes it doesn't catch over by the by the orange, it won't come out so good. Put your T-step 0.1. So just kind of play with this a little bit, just so that you could see the difference in the T-step. Did you catch where it started, where your orientation went? Started at the bottom, so your orientation is going to have these little arrows that go like this. Now, according to my table, maybe, okay, I do have a 0, 0. When time is 0, God bless you, I do have a 0, 0. But your graph doesn't always hit the exact point, and your T-step is part of the reason. So just adjust your T-step so that you make a smoother graph. And sometimes it doesn't even get there. Just kind of play with it a little bit. Again, for now, I just want you to plot out those values in a table so that you can see where your X and your Y's are. Today, that's all we're doing today, is just introducing this new parametric thing to you. And we've never...
You want the sketch on the table?
The sketch on the table, yeah. And we've never been able to make a graph like this because this is not a function. So it gives us a couple of extra things to do. Tomorrow we're going to algebraically eliminate your parameter, and you're going to see your ellipse come out, your circles come out, and it allows us to graph those. So just kind of play with this a little bit, and if you make this too high, I made it a 5. Look, I made my T-step a 5. It doesn't even graph what I'm supposed to look like, because I'm not going every 5. I have like a very small window here. And set your window to go from -4 to +4. Bring back my T-step. And just play with it a little bit. Okay? Basically, that's it. That's what I wanted to do today. Just to introduce you to this. Okay? So you could probably work on your homework and get it done.